You are listening to The Dancer by Óskar Guðmundsson, narrated by Gunnar Cauthery. Chapter 1. The Early Hours, Monday the 6th of December, 1982. He switched on the wipers. They whined like a beaten dog as they cleared the snow piled up on the windscreen. It was a pitch-black night, without a breath of wind, and larger-than-usual snowflakes fluttered like feathers to the ground. There must be millions of them, he thought. Most likely billions. He sat behind the wheel of the stationary van and stared out through the windscreen, looking out into the blackness. He started and glanced quickly in the wing mirror, certain that he had seen something. It was just the smoke of the vehicle's own exhaust. It was red as it curled upwards, illuminated in the glow of the brake lights. It was almost similar to the vapour he was aware of coming from his open mouth when he breathed fast, lit up by the yellow dashboard lights. A low mutter came from the engine. Normally he liked to hear it purr, but not tonight. Now it sounded like a growling predator about to launch an attack. He could feel soreness as he rubbed his index finger against his thumb. He looked down at the dark patch that had formed where the leather needle had pierced the flesh of his index finger. He held his hand close to his face. He sniffed and closed his eyes as he took in the aroma of the leather polish. He recalled the previous night, working the polish deep into the leather with his fingers. He opened his eyes and flicked on the headlights, illuminating the snow-covered area ahead of the van. That, and the victim, who sat tied to a chair, his back to him, struggling against his bonds. He switched the lights to full beam so that he could see clearly the thick, dark leather mask that covered the victim's head. He gripped the wheel with both hands and leaned close to the windscreen. He found himself fascinated by the sparkling light reflected from the snowflakes around the 4 taut chains hooked into iron rings fixed high on the mask. He was delighted with what he had achieved in designing it. There were chains on each side of the mask, running diagonally down to the frozen ground where they were fastened securely with tent pegs. The same went for the chain fixed to the centre of the mask's forehead. The 4th chain was snapped onto a ring at the back of the mask's neck and ran horizontally to the top of a metre-high iron fence post hammered into the ground behind the chair. He watched as one chain was pulled taut, as another lay slack, depending on how hard the victim fought. The man picked up a sledgehammer from the passenger-side footwell and got out of the van. He went over to the iron post, and after adjusting it a little to one side, he took the hammer in both hands, raised it high, and dropped 6 heavy blows. Then he tested the post, and seemed to be satisfied that it was secure. The victim in the chair did his best to look behind him. "What are you doing? You don't need to do this. You must forgive me. I..." The victim got no further, as the man pulled at one of the chains, jerking his head. For a moment he looked into the victim's terrified eyes, inside small openings in the mask. "Yeah, I ought to," the man said in a low voice. He went to the van, slid open the side door, and switched on a small light inside. He put the sledgehammer on the floor inside the van and slowly removed his clothes. When they had been neatly folded, he reached for a bulky Marantz tape player and placed it on the van's bonnet. He didn't feel the cold that nipped at his naked body. On the contrary, he felt an inner heat, thanks to the adrenaline flooding through him, boosting his heartbeat. He relished the feeling of it, rushing through his body, knowing that it both stifled and...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?